I am here to talk about the time I saw my supernatural doppelganger. Or perhaps it was seeing myself in a parallel dimension universe. Or maybe we're talking about quantum immortality and I died this day and this being I saw is now me. Let's get into it. I grew up in a very haunted town. I grew up on the border of Massachusetts and Vermont in New England. This is where the first wars between the indigenous people and the colonizers occurred. So there is a lot of supernatural activity that occurred in my small hometown. This town doesn't even have a gas station. And the home that I grew up within is haunted in a sense that it is a portal to spirits. It is not a typical, stereotypical old haunted house. It is a house that my mother designed and we built and moved in when I was 4 years old. I have so many ghost and supernatural stories from my childhood, from my home, from the graveyard down the road, and also from the town itself and childhood friends' homes. But the story I'm going to talk about happened when I was 20 years old. That is 12 years ago, and I can still remember it as if it occurred yesterday. It is perhaps one of the most terrifying supernatural experiences of my entire life. And as a medium, as a generational medium, a lot of my family members, grandmother, mother, father, are mediums, and my sister is very psychic. So our energies just naturally bring in a lot of paranormal activity. But it was when I was 20 years old, I decided to go to my mother's to heal. I had a very, very painful ulcer that made it so I had to be on bed rest. I was taking antibiotics, I was taking pain medicine for the pain, and because of the amount of physical pain I was within, I did have a hard time eating and drinking water, and I was very, very weak. Probably the weakest I have ever been. If I wanted to walk to use the restroom, which was very close by, I had to stop halfway through. And the reason I'm sharing this is because sometimes when we are sick, or we're very weak, or even fevering, the veil becomes very thin. And this is what happened. So one day, my mother was at work. She was the only one living in this house. And I was laying on the couch just watching dumb reality TV. It's the summertime. I'm just trying to distract my mind. And I feel this energy that is indescribable. All of a sudden, the sun went behind the cloud. The wind stopped blowing, the curtains stopped swaying in the breeze of the open windows, and all of a sudden the living room just turned gray. And I felt this energy, this huge aura coming in from one side of the house towards me. I could feel it slowly coming, and it felt so dark and terrifying. And so I laid there, head to the ceiling, and I envisioned this psychic bubble of protection around myself, something that I actually learned in that living room when I was around 4 or 5 years old, thanks to my father. And I took all of my energy, all of my strength to create this bubble of protection around me. And I felt this being, I felt this energy come closer and closer. And then I felt it come around the couch, and I can still feel it, like all of the hairs on my entire body rose, and I closed my eyes and I felt it right next to me. And I had this internal feeling that I have to face this. I have to open my eyes and I have to look and face whatever this being, whatever this energy is. I did not know what I was about to face. I thought maybe it's a ghost, maybe it's a black mass energy of darkness that does live in that house. Maybe it's that, but it felt something different, something I have never experienced ever besides this moment. So I gather all of my courage and I do my best not to radiate all the fear that I'm feeling within. And I open my eyes and I look over. And what I see when I look over is nothing I've ever experienced or have heard anybody else experience. I look over and I saw myself. I saw myself in true physicality. It wasn't a transparent ghostly figure. It was as clear as you and me, my friend. And as soon as I looked over and I made eye contact with myself, the next thing I know, boom, it is bright. The sun is shining. The wind is blowing through the window. Everything is so bright, even brighter than before. And I look around and there's nothing. Absolutely nothing. The energy no longer feels dark and terrifying, but it doesn't feel bright and illuminating. It feels indescribable. And so I walk over to the home phone. There wasn't smartphones. I didn't have a smartphone back then, 12 years ago. And I call my mother at work and I explain it to her. And it's as if I was a child again. She was like, "Oh, Jennifer, you probably just dozed off and dreamed it. You're a very lucid dreamer." True. But this was incredibly real. And I was like, "No, this genuinely happened. It was so real." But she just wouldn't believe it. She thought it was a dream. And so I didn't share this story much. And I kind of just pretended it didn't happen for a long time, but it lingered in the back of my mind. And for whatever reason, 12 years later, I am thinking about it today. Perhaps it happened on this day 12 years ago. I'm not sure, but I am so curious if there's anybody else in this world who sees this video where something as similar has happened. I don't know if it was a doppelganger. I don't know if I crossed parallel realities and saw myself. I don't know if I died that day and that being is now me. Wow, you look beautiful. My son just came in wearing a blanket. Um, bye. I don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts because my supernatural beings who are watching this video, what do you think happened? I was very weak, but I wasn't on the brink of death. I have no idea, but I do know that my life changed after that. I felt my power come back to me. I deepened my connection to spirituality. My gifts heightened. And I became even more independent, which is something I've always been since I was a child. Wow, beautiful. My son came in with a different blanket. So, yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm genuinely so curious. And make sure to subscribe because I have more supernatural stories to share. I think my Skinwalker one will be next because that was absolutely terrifying. So, yeah, stay connected, blessed be, and let me know what you think in the comments.